Chapter 1511. Does he have a chance to win? Zhang Yi supported his chin with both hands and said lightly, "What you mean is that the current strength of Edo City is not enough for them to compete with the regional-level power of Huaxu Kingdom. At least, they can only reach an equal level at best." Yang Xinxi nodded. From the current situation, Neon's outer sea is still controlled by the Columbia Ocean Fleet. They can't give up their territory willingly unless they don't have enough strength to conquer the sea. Zhang Yi nodded in agreement. That's true. If they are really strong enough, then the aliens of the Yuma court should have taken action against us after what happened tonight. It's strange. The night parade of 100 demons seems to be a strange force. Even the people of the Yuma court will avoid them at night. What is the relationship between the night parade of 100 demons and the Yuma court? Zhang Yi couldn't figure it out. But one thing is certain. The movement there must have attracted the attention of the Yuma court. If they join forces with the ocean fleet, I'm afraid we won't have a chance to go to Edo again. What's more, we don't know where the Xinxue and the dragon specimen are. Zhou Ke looked at Zhang Yi and asked softly, "So, are you going to give up?" Zhang Yi habitually rubbed the back of his left hand with his right hand. After pondering for a moment, he replied, "I don't like to fight unprepared battles. I won't act easily before I get enough intelligence." His eyes shifted and looked in the direction of the guest room. "It depends on whether the Deng family can provide me with more value." He suddenly thought of something and took out the harvested seed heads from the alien space. At this time, the head was already in a completely corpse state, cold, and the blood had dried up. "The head is gone. He must be dead," Zhang Yi said softly. Deng Shintong stayed at Zhang Yi's house tonight. The accommodation conditions of the guest room he arranged were not bad, and it was not considered unfair to him as the heir of the Deng family. He stood in front of the French window, watching the heavy snow falling outside the window. He felt confused in his heart, but he felt relieved because Zhang Yi was next door. There is probably no safer place in the world than here. But now, he needs to think carefully about how to deal with the current situation. Bai Chunyi stood behind him and said softly, "Captain, I see that Zhang Yi seems to be planning to withdraw." He shrugged and said, "He has never been a risk-taker. Seeing that there are not enough benefits, he will definitely not help us anymore." Deng Shintong put his hands behind his back and said in silence after a moment, "But we need him. In the entire Huaxu country, he is the only top fighter with whom we have a little affection. And looking at the entire Huaxu country, he is the only one who has the ability to help us get what we want. It's easy to kill in Neon, but if you want to get out of here safely, you have to have Zhang Yi." Bai Chunyi frowned and thought when he heard this. He's right. We have already alerted the enemy. The fleets of the Demon Court and Columbia are not so easy to deal with. It's still okay if only one side is attacking them, but if they join forces, let alone us, even with more helpers it will be difficult. Also, we only got fakes. No one knows where the real ones are. Deng Shintong said, "This is not difficult to guess. The exhibits in the Daliangde Museum are still there, which means that the real ones are being well preserved by someone. As for who has it, isn't it obvious at a glance? If anyone wants to say, it can only be the top leaders of the Demon Court." Bai Chunyi raised his head. "You mean, the Immortal Mountain?" "That's right. As long as the thing is still in Neon, it must be there." Bai Chunyi smiled bitterly. "That's the headquarters of the Demon Court. Do we have to fight our way up the Immortal Mountain and face the most elite group of aliens in Neon? What's more, there is the night parade of 100 demons whose details we don't know. They are enough to give us a headache. And in the open sea, the Columbia Ocean Fleet is always waiting to attack. No matter how you look at it, we can't achieve our goal alone now. Unless..." He paused for a moment, looked at Deng Shintong's back, and said slowly, "Report this matter to the top leaders of Blizzard City and mobilize the power of the entire Blizzard City. And then join forces with other regions to act together. But in that case, it will rise to the level of national war. Once it starts, it will change the pattern of the whole world. A single move will affect the whole body." Deng Shintong clenched his fists behind his back quietly. "With Zhang Yi here, we don't need to rely on the power of Blizzard City. Neon doesn't have the god of death of love. so we can't use it first, otherwise it will give other forces an excuse to take action. As for the ocean fleet, maybe there are other ways to make them too busy. Bai Chunyu showed a puzzled expression on his face. If we don't ask for help from the top leaders, or ask the East China Sea region to help contain it, how can we make the people of the ocean fleet have no time to take care of Edo City? Deng Shintong didn't answer. He looked out the window. In the dark night sky, he could vaguely see the surging sea. He didn't really see it, but in this coastal city, in the inky black night, the howling north wind and the dead silence of the world always make people think of the endless underwater abyss. That's a very dangerous choice, he said, turning back to look at Bai Chunyu, his eyes firm, but with a rare madness. But if I have to do it, I have to be decisive. Immortal Mountain, Tenshugu. Late at night, Edo is not peaceful tonight. It was less than half an hour before Zhang Yi and his team left. The evil boy sat on the shrine, and the statue of the god enshrined on it had long been overturned. In the huge temple, 3 cadres stood there, reporting to the evil boy everything that happened tonight. Purgatory Star stood in the front, his dark pupils flashing with a bewitching light. Master, the identity of the other party has been confirmed. It is an Epsilon-level alien, Chaos, from the Jiangnan region of Huashu country. Chaos. The evil boy tilted his head and asked lightly, "Is that guy very strong?" The leader of the sword-wielding team, Ming Haizongji, took out the cigarette in his mouth and exhaled a thick white mist. "Very strong, Master." Hearing what Ming Haizongji said, the bespectacled man Maeda Yuichiro pushed his glasses aside, his eyes showing a thoughtful look. "Are you feeling scared, Ming Hai?" Ming Hai said helplessly, "There is a strict hierarchy among aliens. The ability gap between Delta and Epsilon is like a natural chasm. Whether it is the amount of energy or the strength of energy, they are not on the same level. I'm afraid that only the Master can fight with it." The corners of the evil boy's mouth were raised very exaggeratedly, as if his whole mouth was about to split. He jumped down from the shrine and leaped in front of everyone. "I really haven't taken action for a long time. Now, what do you think?" He swept his eyes over the 3 cadres in front of him. "Does he have a chance to beat me in this Edo castle?" Purgatory Star lowered his eyes and said in a respectful voice, "Absolutely impossible." Chapter 15:12 How Dare You? The next morning, after Zhang Yi got up, he was about to go to the restaurant for breakfast. When he passed the corridor, he saw Deng Shintong leaning against the wall, as if waiting for him. "Are you waiting for me?" Zhang Yi asked. Deng Shintong put down his arms and smiled. "Sorry. I didn't sleep all night. If the operation failed, it would be strange if he could sleep. Is there anything new to tell me?" Zhang Yi walked forward, and Deng Shintong followed closely. Although the things are not in the Daliangde Museum, they must be in the Immortal Mountain. Both the original Xinxue and the dragon specimen are very important to us. So, I hope you can help me. Zhang Yi did not turn his head back. "I can give you time to convince me. If there is no sufficient reason, this plan will be shelved for now." Deng Shintong said, "The arms race in the world has never stopped. In the past few decades, it was the electronics and space race. But with the advent of the Ice Age, the role of traditional weapons and troops has been greatly weakened. Nowadays, alien talents are the field that countries are competing to study. If we don't become stronger, we will be surpassed by other countries sooner or later. Our ancestors have tasted the pain of closing the country hundreds of years ago." Zhang Yi looked at him. "So you mean that the value of those 2 things is greater than imagined?" Deng Shintong smiled. The hard work notes of one of the only 2 saints in the 5,000 years of Huashu country. The specimen of the mythical creature dragon. "Do you think the value is big enough?" Zhang Yi smiled slightly, but his eyes became deep. He read a page of Wang Shouren's notes, and the content recorded on it did benefit him a lot. If he could get the complete notes, perhaps he could find a shortcut to improve his strength. In this world full of variables, only by constantly getting stronger can he ensure the safety of himself and those around him. This is just a reason to go to Edo, but it is not a sufficient condition. If you want me to take action, you must bring greater help." Zhang Yi sneered. "Otherwise, Do you really want me to deal with the top aliens of the Ocean Fleet and the Yuma Court alone? Deng Shintong seemed to be waiting for Zhang Yi's words. I have a way to prevent the aliens of the Ocean Fleet from taking action. This sentence made Zhang Yi sluggish for a few seconds, and he looked at Deng Shintong suspiciously. Do you have a way? It seems that I really underestimated your Deng family in the past. Your face is comparable to the entire navy of the East China Sea region. Zhang Yi's words were a bit teasing. Deng Shintong shook his head. Of course I don't have the face. But I know the principle of besieging Wei to save Zhao. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows and said with his arms crossed, let me get to the point. Tell you why you can do it. Deng Shintong's smile became more intense, but Zhang Yi always felt that his expression was a little crazy. Zhang Yi, do you still remember Qingdao Fog Valley? The area where it is located is actually closer to the Ocean Fleet than Huaxi country. The situation there is very dangerous now. The poisonous fog on the island has been spreading towards the ocean. The Ocean Fleet is greedy and fearful of this dangerous and mysterious place with treasures. If we do something to it, guess what will happen to the Ocean Fleet? Zhang Yi's expression suddenly became focused. Qingdao Fog Valley has always been one of his concerns. The Dragon King is suspected to have fallen into the hands of the Fog Valley creatures and was transformed into a monster. His warning before his death is still an element that makes Zhang Yi uneasy. The last time the Fog Valley changed, Zhang Yi did not participate because he had to go to the Southwest region. The East China Sea region and the Ocean Fleet did send people there. In the end, Zhang Yi only knew that Qinglong successfully obtained a portion of the Source of God and was promoted to an Epsilon-level alien. The Ocean Fleet lost 5 warships, but in the end it also gained something. You mean artificially caused the changes in Star Island so that the Ocean Fleet had to send people to deal with it? Deng Shintong nodded. The forces closest to Fog Valley are the East China Sea region and the Ocean Fleet. Other small countries around do not have the combat power of the Epsilon level and are not qualified to participate at all. As long as we delay the top combat power of the Ocean Fleet, we can take the opportunity to kill into the Immortal Mountain, and then take back our national treasure. After listening to this, Zhang Yi took a deep breath and spit it out forcefully. Do you know how dangerous it is to do this? Zhang Yi stared at Deng Shintong with a sharp look. Disturbing an underground civilization. The consequences are very terrible. You were also there during the Qinling underground trip. But you have never experienced that kind of horrific scene. Deng Shintong, doing this may bring a huge crisis to the humans in the world above. Do you understand? Deng Shintong pondered for a moment, suddenly raised his head and stared at Zhang Yi and said, but even if there is really danger, the first ones to face it are not us. It is the country in the southeastern sea area and the Colombian Ocean Fleet. Isn't it? He spread his hands, driving the tiger to swallow the wolf. It is not a bad plan. Unless Colombia is willing to completely abandon the southeastern sea area and let Huaxi occupy this outlet. Otherwise, they must send troops to suppress it. Zhang Yi sneered twice. Deng Shintong, worthy of being a child of a noble family, looks gentle on the surface, yeah. In fact, you are more ruthless than anyone else when it comes to this kind of problem. Deng Shintong said, the invasion of the mysterious civilization into this world has already begun. I just accelerated its progress, and doing so can help us achieve our goals. Why not do it? Zhang Yi stared at Deng Shintong for several seconds. He did not rush to give an answer because this approach was too crazy. Even he did not dare to easily provoke those mysterious underground civilizations. Let's eat first. Zhang Yi turned around and walked towards the living room. Everyone had a particularly harmonious breakfast, and Deng Shintong did not mention this matter again. He knew that Zhang Yi needed time to think about it. At about 10 o'clock in the morning, Zhang Yi called Deng Shintong to the door. Let's go. I'll take you to see the people in Tianhai City. You haven't been here many times, so you should know this area, right? Zhang Yi drove out his snowmobile and asked Deng Shintong to get in the car. Then the car drove towards the Chaoyu base on the seashore. Deng Shintong said, indeed, now that you are protecting this place, it should be very peaceful. Peace is only temporary. Zhang Yi said calmly, I can clearly feel that this kind of life will not last too long. This world is becoming more and more dangerous. There are too many mysterious civilizations, and they are merging with this world. Sooner or later, there will be a violent collision between different civilizations. I need a strong enough force to protect everything I have. Chapter 1513 Alien Organization Plan. Zhang Yi brought Deng Shintong to Chaoyu Base. When his car arrived, Lu Dahai had already been waiting in front of the base with people. Mr. Zhang, welcome to inspect the work. Lu Dahai smiled. Deng Shintong glanced at these people and frowned. He couldn't feel the breath of a strong man from these people. At the very least, well-trained troops and aliens who have experienced many bloody battles should have a strong fighting spirit. But these people look like a mob. Is it my illusion? They are all good at disguise like Zhang Yi. Deng Shintong wondered in his heart. Zhang Yi said to Lu Dahai, "You guys go and get busy. I just brought my friends to see." Lu Dahai was driven away by Zhang Yi. Then Zhang Yi took Deng Shintong and walked casually along the Chaoyu base. Along the way, there were people working everywhere. Living by the sea, their main job now is to go into the sea to catch fish and then provide them to the 3 major bases. How do you feel, these people in our Tianhai cities? Zhang Yi asked with a smile. Deng Shintong chuckled. Not bad. They live in harmony. I mean their strength. Deng Shintong coughed. Forgive me for my poor eyesight, I didn't see it. Zhang Yi smiled. No, they are just as you can see. They are pitifully weak. Now in the whole Tianhai city, not counting the people around me, these guys, the number of awakened ones is very rare. The number of people above 5,000 points does not exceed 1 hand. Deng Shintong was stunned on the spot. The territory with the strongest combat power in Jiangnan district has such weak subordinates. Zhang Yi said, there were some special reasons in the past, so I didn't train them. He had experienced a life-and-death battle with the 3 major bases. At that time, Zhang Yi's strength was not strong enough, so of course he had to be wary of them. Deng Shintong had understood what Zhang Yi meant at this time. You mean you want me to help you train your subordinates? Zhang Yi said to Deng Shintong, I am made of iron, but how many nails can I hammer? During the trip to Edo, I was able to fight against the enemy's Epsilon-level combat power. But I lacked strong subordinates. There will be more and more wars like this in the future, and I will become more and more powerless if I rely on myself alone. So, if your Deng family really develops something after getting the dragon specimen, you must share the technical means with me as soon as possible. In addition, I don't have any professional people around me for training. Your Deng family must send someone to help me. Deng Shintong nodded vigorously without any hesitation. As long as you are willing to help me get that thing, I can certainly agree to this condition. After all, you are also an important backer of my Deng family. Zhang Yi smiled. By the way, what are you going to do with Wugu? It's hard to use hot weapons, right? If it's something like a missile, it will be easily discovered by other forces. It will be a big trouble at that time. Deng Shintong smiled confidently. Don't worry about this. My Deng family is also considered an old family in Huashu country, so we naturally have the means to do this. Moreover, we guarantee that it will not be discovered in the short term. He winked at Zhang Yi. Even if it is discovered in the future, what can they do? Fog Valley does not belong to any force, so why can't others explore it? If there are some small problems in the middle, it can only be said to be an accident, right? Zhang Yi drooped his eyelids and said lazily, whatever you do. Anyway, this matter will not implicate me. He half-jokingly said, I have offended enough people. The two reached an agreement, and Deng Shintong immediately returned to Blizzard City to arrange relevant matters. Zhang Yi returned home and called Yang Xinxin and others to discuss the formation of an alien army. Even tigers take naps. If Tianhai City needs me to defend it all the time, I will be a little stressed, so I have to find more people to share the burden with me. Now it seems that forming an alien army is the best choice. Fatty Su heard this, crossed his arms, and said with disdain, these scumbags in Tianhai City, is it meaningful to waste resources on them? Zhang Yi said bluntly, scumbag number 1 has a clear understanding of himself. Fatty Su, what? He pointed at his nose and looked left and right. Boss, who is he talking about? Are you talking about me? Don't look at it, I'm talking about you. Zhang Yi rolled his eyes. Fatty Su looked aggrieved. Boss, my ability index is 9,000 plus now. What's the use? It's still not very useful in battle. Zhang Yi spoke to Fatty Su without any politeness.
Wow.
So sad. Fatty Su cried. Zhang Yi ignored him. There are more than 10,000 people still alive in Tianhai City. Every one of them is an elite who has gone through the baptism of the last 3 years of the apocalypse. Among them, there are many talented people, but they have not had the opportunity to awaken. If we can develop their potential, there is great hope to cultivate an excellent team of aliens. But Zhou Kur expressed her concerns. Such a large number of aliens must undergo scientific training to become warriors. We don't have enough energy to do it, Zhang Yi said. We have ready-made helpers, he said, looking at Bailey Chongqing and Wu Di, who were sitting in the corner of the living room without saying a word. The two were still his team members in name, and now they could get a salary in Blizzard City by lying down thanks to Zhang Yi's reputation. But how could Zhang Yi's advantage be so easy to take? Bailey Chongqing laughed. Captain, I'll take care of it. Training aliens is a piece of cake for me. Bailey Chongqing himself was a member of the Yanyanwei Special Forces. He was an instructor in the army at the time, and he was best at training people. Zhang Yi said, You are all my team members. When the time comes, call the other guys over to help me. Yes. Bailey Chongqing said loudly. What Zhang Yi said was the order of the superior to him, and being ordered by the strongest person in the Jiangnan district made Bailey Chongqing particularly excited. Not everyone has the opportunity to work for Zhang Yi. If that's the case, why don't we just set up a school for aliens? Yang Xinxin suddenly said. School. Zhang Yi's eyes lit up with curiosity. Yang Xinxin said, Since we want to train aliens and make them qualified warriors, we have to cultivate their comprehensive qualities. The most important thing is the education of ideology and morality. I think this is no less important than the cultivation of combat effectiveness. Chapter 1514, Fog Valley Impact. The ideological and moral education that Yang Xinxin was referring to was not the kind in the textbooks. It was absolute loyalty to Zhang Yi. Otherwise, the powerful aliens that were cultivated with great effort turned out to be rebellious, ungrateful wolves, which would be too pitfall. Is there any way to do it? Zhang Yi asked. Even with Yang Xinxin's ability, it can only temporarily control humans, and it is impossible to control a large number of aliens for a long time. So this road is basically past. This problem is actually very simple. Just create a god. Yang Xinxin stared at Zhang Yi and said in a gentle tone, Make you, brother, a god. Let all the aliens in the academy respect you like a god, and even be willing to die for you. Zhang Yi suddenly realized. Religion? Yang Xinxin said, Brother, you don't need to worry about this. You have a very good mass base. Now you are the patron saint of Tianhai City, and even in the entire Jiangnan region, your prestige is extremely high. We only need to guide them a little, and we can cultivate a group of believers who are absolutely loyal to you. There are some people in Tianhai City who are very good at this. We can make good use of them. Zhang Yi nodded. Well, this matter is on the agenda. We can start making arrangements right away. Deng Xintong will not be back for a few days, so Zhang Yi can take this opportunity to prepare for the establishment of the Alien Training Academy. The address of the academy was chosen at Tianqing Academy, where Yang Xinxin and Liu Karen once studied. It was buried by thick snow, but most of the buildings were preserved. After clearing the snow and letting some workers help build it, it can be put into use. The initial plan was to select aliens with supernatural talents, gather them together, give them excellent food, and keep their physical fitness normal. At the same time, they will receive basic training and ideological and political courses. It's easy to find a training instructor. Bailey Chongqing and other members of the Tengu team can handle it with any two of them. But who can come to teach ideology and politics? Zhang Yi thought again and felt that there seemed to be no such person around him. Yang Xinshin smiled faintly. Brother, Tianhai City has never lacked talents. In fact, there are many geniuses here, but you haven't discovered their talents. It seems that you already have the right person? Zhang Yi smiled. Yang Xinshin said a person's name. Ma Wenzheng. Zhang Yi thought of the thin, middle-aged man. He used to be a powerful business tycoon, and he was also a teacher with outstanding eloquence. When he picked up the group of people from Yenlu Island, he had noticed that Ma Wenzheng's eloquence was very contagious. Speech is a very powerful ability. In history, many big figures who set off waves need to have excellent eloquence to persuade the powerful and the common people to support their cause. In the ancient Greek city-states, due to the birth of early forms of democracy, speech became an indispensable talent for an excellent ruler. Even in the last century, the German mustache who caused the World War infected countless people with his powerful oratory skills and established the Third Reich of Prussia. Zhang Yi's mind is still on Edo, so he has no extra energy to deal with this matter. So he let Zhou Qier take full responsibility and others help. Anyway, now the alien training school has only established a prototype, and there is no hurry to invest too much resources and energy. A few days later, Deng Shintong returned from Blizzard City. When he saw Zhang Yi, he nodded gently to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi knew that he had arranged everything. As soon as the Columbia Navy is dispatched, we will set out again and head to Edo. This time, we will go straight to the Immortal Mountain. Time waits for no one. After the Columbia Navy is lured away, they will definitely find the problem soon. Zhang Yi must get back the Xinxiue and the dragon specimen before the other party comes back to support. It's a bit funny to say. In the third year of the apocalypse, Zhang Yi is now a black chariot-level alien with an ability index of 20,000 points. Looking at the world, he is one of the very few people with top-level strength. Anyone who knows that he is thinking about them may not be able to sleep well at night. But this trip to Neon was the first time that he took the initiative to attack. But even so, Zhang Yi still made the decision to attack after making full preparations and considering the retreat plan. On this point, if the target of this trip was other countries, Zhang Yi might have refused it long ago. But if the target was Japan, it would be another matter. Zhang Yi did not ask himself if he was an extreme nationalist. But if he could step on the head of Japan and ravage them, he would feel extremely happy. To use the words of a certain celebrity, he did this not to prove how great he was, but as a Huashu countryman, he must take back what he had lost. He must also return the humiliation he had suffered. Once again, everyone was ready to go. In the early morning of a day, an abnormal energy fluctuation suddenly appeared in the fog valley. A force as powerful as the small god of death of love began to erupt along the southwest side of the fog valley and instantly swept in all directions. The powerful shock wave instantly cleared the poisonous fog within a radius of hundreds of miles, and the island that had long been razed to the ground suffered heavy damage again. The abnormal energy reaction immediately attracted the attention of all surrounding forces. In the East China Sea region, outside the port of East China Sea City, the sea water rolled wildly to both sides, and the warships displayed in the port shook like models. A huge blue-black shell surfaced, like a huge deep-sea aircraft carrier. The strongest combat force in the East China Sea region, Xuanwu, surfaced, and two eyes as big as small boats stared at the distant southwest sea area. Is there any unusual movement over there in the fog valley? Today Xuanwu is much larger than the last time he took action in the fog valley. After parting with Zhang Yi, he is also growing in his own way. In this dangerous world, those who don't become stronger will definitely be eliminated. The more powerful the existence, the more it understands this truth. After Xuanwu appeared, two figures in the distance quickly ran over. One was green and the other was ice blue. Qinglong and Zhuke landed on Xuanwu's back, staring at the sea area in the distance with serious eyes. Today, Qinglong has officially become an Epsilon-level alien. As for Zhuke, although she did not get the Source of God, she obviously gained a lot from the previous action. Her current strength is only one step away from a breakthrough. It's just a matter of time. Chapter 1515, Direct Attack on the Demon Court. 3 of the 4 spirits have arrived, and the title of White Tiger is now vacant, because no one in the East China Sea region is qualified to be on par with the other 3. Qinglong looked down at Xuanwu and asked, Xuanwu, did you sense anything? Xuanwu's voice echoed dully on the sea. A very special energy reaction. It seems to be some powerful weapon. But the distance is too far, I don't know. Suzuka crossed her arms. She was wearing a dark red combat uniform with ice blue patterns, and her face was cold and pretty. I have reported the situation here to Li Shuai. But Xuanwu, Li Shuai listens to your opinion more. Tell me, what should we do next? She has been to Fog Valley twice and encountered a major crisis each time. Especially the last time, she almost died there. After going deep into the huge abyss, she realized how mysterious and terrifying that place is. So now she has learned her lesson and will not make decisions on her own. Xuanwu said, My main body cannot enter the abyss of the Mist Valley, and with your strength, it must be very dangerous to enter it at this time. After all, the existence inside may have been angered. Qinglong frowned. If that's the case, those people from the Columbia Ocean Fleet will take advantage. Xuanwu said, Better safe than sorry. His eyes were extremely deep. You have never been to the deep sea, and you don't understand what kind of terrible existence this world contains. After I was promoted to Epsilon, I thought I was the most powerful overlord in the ocean of this planet. But when I dived into the seabed, I realized how shallow I was. The Mist Valley is not that simple. Even now, what you have touched is just the surface. Xuanwu is a very cautious and extremely talented person. Even he said so, Qinglong and Suzaku would naturally respect his opinion. Well, let's see what those guys in Columbia will do. Cardiles and Canero, they are closer to Fog Valley. They won't sit idly by, right? As Xuanwu and the others said, the people of the Ocean Fleet will certainly not ignore the changes here. After all, Fog Valley is too close to the naval port, and the impact on them is more obvious. So the fleet commander, 5-star Admiral Greto Douglas, immediately summoned Ocean Lord Cardiles and Piercer Yassine Canero. Today, they are the 2 trump cards of the Hellchain organization. Canero is extremely talented. Although he is a latecomer, with the accumulation of a large amount of resources in Columbia, his current strength is catching up with Cardiles. The 2 came to the commander's office and met General Douglas. Douglas, holding a pipe in his mouth, said to the 2, There is an unusual movement over there on Qingdao again. This is very dangerous to our base. However, this may be a huge opportunity. We need to send someone to lead the investigation. Of course, someone has to stay behind to take charge of the naval base. It's not peaceful here. Now we have to face not only Huashu country, but also this group of Japanese lunatics who are always clamoring to defeat the superiors. Cartiers put his hands on his hips and took a deep breath. That damn place again. Damn it. I really don't know when those weird things underground will appear. They always hide under the cave, and our cruise missiles can't accurately hit them. General Douglas took 2 puffs of his pipe and squinted his eyes and said, Cartiers, focus. The guys down there are not easy to deal with. Cartiers smiled disapprovingly. Okay. I understand, Commander. I will take those guys over to see what's going on. He spread his hands impatiently, who made me like taking care of children. Although he said so, he definitely didn't dare to agree to let Cartiers go to Qingdao alone. Aliens are not invincible. They are just humans who are particularly strong in certain aspects. But humans are still humans after all. Even Epsilon may die because of some seemingly funny little things. Even Zhang-Yi, in theory, may choke while eating and be suffocated to death. This is not funny, it is a fact. The island is full of poisons, and after entering the abyss, you may encounter many complicated situations. Therefore, important actions usually have to be carried out as a team. Douglas looked at Carnero. As for you, Carnero, stay at the main camp of the Navy. Prevent any accidents. Carnero nodded. Yes, Commander. After the Qingdao incident, Zhang Yi immediately took his alien troops and headed straight for the Neon Edo Castle. Since they chose to attack the immortal mountain directly, the departure time must be daytime, so as to avoid facing hundreds of ghosts at night. During the day, Edo Castle is still a prosperous scene. However, there were many more members of the demon court patrolling the streets, and the tops of tall buildings were occupied by aliens who were good at keeping watch. An alien with fly-like compound eyes squatted on the top of the Edo TV tower, and most of the scenes of Edo City fell into his sight. As the owner of the ability of flying flies can dynamically capture the movements in a wide area. Once any change occurs, he will be aware of it at the first time. Since the incident at the Daliangda Museum that night, Edo City has entered a state of full martial law, and even first-class players have been transferred from other areas. Zhang Yi and others appeared in Edo City, and everyone was disguised. The difficulty of disguise is not high, because hundreds of thousands of people in the city are wearing casual clothes. On a cold winter day, their clothes are very thick, most of which cover their faces. Therefore, Zhang Yi and his appearance, unless they take the initiative to fight, will not attract the attention of the Yuma court. Zhang Yi, are you going straight to the Immortal Mountains? Deng Shintong looked at Zhang Yi and asked softly. He was ready for the battle, and his heartbeat speed could not help but speed up. This is the base camp of the entire Neon Aliens. At that time, not only will Zhang Yi need to fight, but they will also have to face aliens who are far more numerous than them. No one should think too easily. Before that, there is one thing I need to confirm. Zhang Yi looked around. He came to this place on purpose because he had done an experiment here a few days ago. Zhang Yi looked around and then walked towards a ruin. There he saw a headless corpse. At this time, it was lying on the ground in a weird posture, and the corpse was shriveled like a deflated balloon. He is still dead. In other words, these people will still die if they are fatally injured. But combined with what Fatty Sue saw before, there is still a chance of resurrection if the body is kept intact. It looks like the nest of some kind of parasite. Dear viewers, this video ends here. Thanks for staying tuned. Please subscribe if not already and like the video. Thanks.